You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey, General Hospital fans, we've got Mayor Laura Collins horrified because she's got a very, very dead Professor Hank Dalton in her trunk, and things are about to take a horrible turn for the newly reelected mayor. So will a murder accusation against Laura turn over the election results? It's Belinda from Soap Dirt, and we're going to talk about why Jenz Sidwell is setting Laura up to take the fall for Dalton's murder and what comes next. But please click subscribe if you're not already following us. All right, so we recently saw Laura go off on Professor Dalton for framing her grandson, Rocco Falconieri, for supposedly trashing Dalton's lab at PCU. And now poor Rocco is sitting in juvie, and he's terrified and facing serious felony charges. And of course, Laura knows Rocco is innocent and that Dalton is a slime ball. And so when he provoked Laura at the polling station on election day, if you remember, she screamed at Dalton. Laura called him a liar and promised that he wouldn't get away with this. And then Laura even slapped Dalton in the face. He didn't touch her, and she got physical with him. I mean, it was glorious, and voters seemed to like that she was standing up for her grandson. But unfortunately, Laura slapping him was assault, and she made threats against Dalton twice in public. And now all of a sudden, his corpse is in her trunk. And of course, we all know that Sidwell's the one who put a bullet through his heart, killed Dalton in cold blood right there in his living room because he put the research that he and Britt and Sidwell and the mystery boss are working on at risk. Dalton's bad temper got them on the radar of the PCPD and the WSB. The good thing is they haven't tied Dalton, in one way to Britt and to Sidwell. So yes, Britt Westbourne is the one and only witness to Sidwell slaying Dalton, but she's terrified, so she is not going to talk. And it's not just that Sidwell told her, this is how I deal with people who betray me, but also he reminded Britt she relies on him and the mystery boss for her Huntington's medication. So she's very scared of what horrible things would happen to her health without that miracle drug. So I do suspect we're going to see Laura in the hot seat because she just publicly threatened Dalton. And by the end of this week, she's in her car, terrified, freaking out that there's a corpse in there with her spare tire. And Laura screams again on Friday when Nathan approaches her car. I guess she doesn't see him there. The threats were bad enough if Dalton had turned up dead anywhere. I think Laura would have been a suspect, but with Dalton's body shoved in the trunk of her car, there seems little doubt the PCPD will have to investigate and possibly arrest Laura next week. And of course, we only have 3 episodes next week because of Thanksgiving. So Laura may not be in handcuffs for a whole nother week, but it seems likely it's going to happen. And at the same time that it seems likely she'll be arrested, it also seems quite unlikely that the mayor would shoot Dalton. But she did make threats, and she vowed to protect Rocco at all costs. And of course, Laura's a tough cookie, and it wouldn't be the first time she handled a gun, wouldn't be the first time she killed somebody. So, she's not an angel. But there's also the fact that Laura was just reelected as mayor, and she beat creepy Ezra Boyle, and we know she has a lot to lose. Another reason that Laura wouldn't be reckless and just go around shooting some guy no matter what he did to Rocco. However, if the evidence points to Laura, that's what matters, and of course Sidwell knows that. That's why Jenz told Britt that now dead Dalton could still be useful to their cause, because Laura's been getting in the way of what Sidwell wants, which is to get Sonny out of the way and to take control of the peers. And Laura refused eminent domain, and then they did Measure C, and that didn't go the way Sidwell wanted. But if he can get Laura sent to prison, then it seems like Ezra would probably be mayor, and we know he would do exactly what Sidwell told him to do because he is corrupt. Plus, We know that Sidwell has the murder weapon since he used it, so he might have planted that with Dalton's corpse in Laura's car, or maybe in her office or her home. I mean, this is definitely kind of a two birds, one stone thing for Sidwell. He got rid of Dalton, who was a problem, and he may also get Laura out of the way, and she's also a problem because she would always be Sonny's ally at City Hall. Plus, in kind of a three bird, one stone thing, Sidwell accomplished a third thing by killing Dalton. He scared the teetotal crap out of Britt because she has toned down the sass and she's going to work harder in the lab to get the results from her father, César Faison's research. Even a badass like Britt is now afraid for her life because she knows Sidwell will not hesitate to kill her. She was already scared once she saw that he had brought Pascal to Port Charles because the guy strapped a bomb to her ankle in Croatia. And, you know, if Pascal had his way, Britt would already be dead in pieces. So she's terrified, and rightfully so. And Sidwell is evil, but he's also extremely smart, and he seems to always be 2 steps ahead. So I'm not at all surprised that he would take this opportunity to get rid of Dalton, who is a serious liability, and also get Laura out of the way. So at the end of this week, Nathan is talking to Laura, who is distraught and sobbing, and he's at her car window at the side of the road. So either Laura calls 911 to report she found a body in her trunk, or Nathan just happens to be driving by and sees her pulled over. Either way, the cops are there, and it should be easy to see that Laura's being framed, but the PCPD doesn't do a great job at actually solving crimes, first of all, and they really have no other suspects. They generally always go for the easy one, like with the Willow thing and Drew's shooting. So bottom line, Rocco was in juvie, and the other kids that conspired to do the break-in, Danny, Charlotte, Gio, and Emma, all have alibis for when Dalton was killed. So even though it seems unlikely that Laura would kill Dalton, if that's where the evidence points, you know, plus with Laura assaulting Dalton and making threats, we could see Dante forced to arrest Laura, which would be ironic since Dante was just appointed acting police commissioner by his ex-mother-in-law, the mayor. So D.A. Turner obviously would charge Laura with murder if the evidence warrants it. And then that means for her that beating Ezra in the election might be the last good thing to happen to Laura for a while. If she is facing arrest and jail time, I would expect Ezra and Drew to get to work overturning the election so that Ezra can take her place as mayor, which would put everything falling perfectly into place for Sidwell and starting a real nightmare for poor Laura. And of course, this is bad news for Sonny too. It would be kind of funny if Laura has to step down as mayor because of Dalton's murder, and then Ezra is appointed mayor, but then he's forced to step down because Chase is about to figure out that Jacinda, the ex-prostitute, was doing sexy stuff with Ezra for money the night that Drew was shot, and Jacinda lied to give Michael an alibi. So we could have 2 disgraced mayors in the coming weeks. We'll see what happens. Things are not looking good for Laura, and she could lose everything. Obviously, the mayor's friends and family will stand by her. Lulu, Rocco, Sonny, Jordan, Curtis, all of them. And she's got lots of people in her corner, but none of that will matter if Sidwell did a really good job framing her for Dalton's death.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.